Eddie, Sam, it's fight week here in Melbourne. I guess, Eddie, for you to start, Melbourne is the sporting capital of Australia. Why Melbourne? Why now? And how did the relationship with SLB first start?
Well, my first time in Melbourne, and I've only been here a few hours, but I like the feel of it. And Sam's been doing incredible things here. So, as we've shown in the past, we're happy to work with everybody. The conversations with Sam have been going on for the last probably 12 months. I know Brendan very well as well, and they come to us with a really solid proposal. They know exactly what they're doing. I saw their last show here on DAZN as well, and it looked first class, and they've been great to work with, and looking forward to many more here in Melbourne and around Australia.
Sam, the Melbourne market's been untapped for the best part of 10 years. How proud are you to bring big time boxing, not only to Melbourne, but on such a big scale as well?
I think like Eddie coming into town now and coming into Australia how he is just going to be a great opportunity for Aussie boxing in just general, because we've had the one platform. Now he's opening up his own platform, and it's just going to give all the fighters and fans the opportunity now to see a whole different brand of boxing, which is super exciting for Australia. I'll tell you, the boxing fans are going to get what they've wanted for many, many years.
Sam, as a long-time pioneer for boxing in Australia, but women's boxing as well, is it ironic for you that, given your journey in boxing 10 plus years, that your first televised show on this platform is headlined by a women's interim world title fight?
Obviously, we've got people who know me, know me, and what I've been about, like you've just asked, and I'm just stoked. I'm a big fan of the women's boxing. My past has shown that, and to have Skye Nicolson on there against Mariah Turner, it's just such a big opportunity for Mariah, and obviously Skye's I think she's at a higher level. And Mariah's going to have to come up, and if she does, big opportunities ahead for her. So,
Eddie, televised boxing has been very inconsistent in this part of Australia. What about the show that you saw last year that Sam put together made you interested in connecting at a professional level?
Competitive fights. That's the great thing about Australian boxing. You've got so many people that are willing to take chances, take risks. And if you get beat, it's not the end of the world. You can come again if you're in a good fight. Like, you've got a great fight tomorrow night, with Hunt and Hussein. Like, there's a great example. Two guys, they're up for it, stick them in with each other. You get a great fight, you get great value for money for the fans as well. And I think that's really what we want to see. And Sam does that on all of his shows. Sometimes on shows you get bigger names, they don't want to take risks. That's a poor product. It's not competitive fights. And tomorrow night you've got some big stars on there as well, some very competitive fights. And for me, one of the biggest things about tomorrow night is it's a linear show. Not pay-per-view, but it's available free to air. And that's really important for growing the audience and making these fighters stars. You've got guys like Tara Moana. I think that's the future of Australian boxing. I think that's the future world heavyweight champion that would change the sport in Australia if you started bringing world championship heavyweight fights to this country. But if you don't build him on the way up with a big platform, who's going to know about him when he gets there? So, he's going to do big numbers tomorrow night, and it's great to see it off pay-per-view, because this card could have been pay-per-view. But, we want to just make sure that we do enough non-pay-per-view cards to drive that audience.
Australia currently has one undisputed women's world champion in Shanika Johnson. I know you've inferred on other platforms in the past that there could be some crossover there with Skye and Shanika. For those who aren't aware of the landscape, how can those two fighters connect, and how does that fight happen?
Yeah, probably now, after the weight cut, asking Skye to make 118 pounds is a bit hard, a bit of a hard question, but those two are friends. But also, it's a massive fight for Australian boxing. You've got two Australians fighting for the undisputed world championship. So, we're all about making big fights, and wherever you have to go up and down, you see the women do it all the time. Shanika's done great, obviously started her journey with Sammy, invested so heavily into her, and she's gone on to do great as well. But there's big fights. Ellie Scottney, maybe you even bring in Amanda Serrano here as well with government support, and but she's got to get through tomorrow night. It won't be easy.
Sam, you've been on record saying that you don't sign fighters because you constantly want to see 50-50 fights. Do you think that shows that your model works, given that Matchroom are now invested in your side of it as well?
Yeah, I'm very happy. Eddie's the man when it comes to being the promoter. I'm happy to come for a journey. I'm about the fights. I love 50-50 contests, and as you know, first and foremost, I'm a boxing trainer. So I've always been about the 50-50 fights, the Caparellas and the Zarafas and Shanika Johnsons and whatever. That's what I've been about, and that's, for me, that's a big part of what I can bring to the show. So it works well.
Eddie, for you, your first wave of Matchroom, when you first heavily invested, was built around domestic fighters fighting each other, be it Collar and Murray or those level of fights, or also with with Haddon as well, and not to mention the stuff you did with Kell Brook there too. Do you think there's any similarity between where the sport was when you started in the UK and where it is now here in Australia?
Yeah, I think ultimately domestic fights work. You know, every time you're putting an Australian in with an Australian, it's going to be a lot more interesting an Australian fighting, you know, someone else from around the world that no one can relate to. You're also very territorial here. Do you know what I mean? You do it in your rugby and you're in NRL, like, you know, so it's like, why not do it in boxing as well? Every time there's a kid from Melbourne fighting a kid from Brisbane, you know, you've got the opportunity to build those storylines. So we've got to make those big domestic fights as well. If we can do it with the bigger names as well. I mean, we had Jake Wiley against Ibby Bella, was a great example of a fight like that works. Bella's a big ticket seller from Melbourne. Jake Wiley's a really good fighter from Queensland. Stick him in, you know, and we'll continue to do that.
Fantastic. All the best for tomorrow night.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks so much.
Sweet. Mate. No, all the best.